Hello everyone, welcome to the world of software testing. So, as of now, we have covered waterfall model and V model in the last lectures. In this lecture, we are going to discuss about the understanding of agile methodology and its complete process. So, we'll discuss the complete workflow of the agile process. So, from its inputs, or we can say from its initiation to the deployment. So, let's discuss first the agile methodology. So what is agile methodology? So the agile methodology is a way to manage a project by breaking it up into several phases. So we are managing the project by breaking the complete project into the several phases. It involves constant collaboration with the stakeholders and continuous improvement at every stage. Once the work begins, team cycles through the process of planning, executing, and evaluating. Continuous collaboration is vital both with the team members and project stakeholders. So here also in the each cycle, the team need to process through the planning, executing, and evaluating phases. So all the phases will repeats in the every cycle. Agile is a software development approach where the self-sufficient and cross-functional team works on making the continuous deliveries through the iteration and evolves through the process by gathering the feedback from the end users. The Agile model is an iterative and incremental model. So the frequent changes in the requirement accepted at any stage of the development, whether we are in the development, testing, or in production. So Agile is basically a flexible model, so we can accept the changes in the requirement at any stage. If we are in the production as well, we can accept the requirements. So Agile methodology breaks the product into small incremental builds, or we can say small pieces of the application. So these builds are provided in iterations, and each iteration is having duration of about 2 weeks to 1 month. So we have discussed the duration for the agile model is 2 weeks for or 1 month. So these iterations is having the duration of about 2 weeks to 1 month. So some companies use 2 weeks, some use 1 month. So this is what we call as releases, or in case of agile, we call it as sprints. So we'll discuss in the upcoming slide. So the development phases. So these are the phases of the agile model. So first is the again planning, requirement gathering and analysis. Then second one is the design phase, then the coding phase, the testing phase, deployment phase, and operation and maintenance phase. So all these phases work similar to the earlier phases, but here we don't prepare any more documentation in case of agile model, but the planning, design, coding works as the same. So design in design they will work upon the HLD and LLD. In coding, the developers work upon the coding part and they will perform the unit testing. Then the testing part, so again the test engineers will identify the test scenarios, and based on those test scenarios they will prepare the test case design, and then the test case design will be executed once they get the build from the coding team or the development team. And once the testing is completed, so if there are in no defects available in the application, then the testing gets completed, and then the application can be deployed to the production environment. So once it is deployed, so there will be operation and maintenance activities goes on, so based on the user inputs. So this is the phases in the agile model. So for every sprint, we need to go through all these phases, and each phase completion results in the piece of application. So this is about the phases in the agile methodology. Then the agile frameworks. So there are 6 frameworks. So the most important is the Scrum framework. Then the second is Lean. Then the Kanban. Then DSDM, Dynamic System Development Approach. And then the FDD, Feature Driven Development. And then Extreme Programming, that is XP. So these are the agile frameworks. So here we will discuss about the Scrum framework, so which is the most used framework and which is highly effective framework for the agile. So there is a confusion between most of the people. So they consider Scrum and Agile are the same, but there is a difference between the Agile and Scrum. So Agile is a process model and Scrum is a kind of framework through which we will develop a software and deliver to the client. So Agile is a process model, or the SDLC process model we can say, or the SDLC model we can say. And the Scrum is a kind of framework through which we will develop the software and will deliver it to the client. So Agile is basically a philosophy of managing the project based on the core set of principles or values, and Scrum is an Agile methodology based on those principles. So this is the difference. So the key difference between the Agile and Scrum is that the Scrum is highly successful methodology for delivering the software to the customer, while the Agile is a philosophy about how to deliver the software to the customer. So this is basically a difference between Agile and Scrum. So don't be confused with this. So next is the Scrum team. So what is Scrum team? So here there are some different names in case of Agile Scrum methodology. So in case of waterfall, we are used to call BA, that is a business analyst, who was acting as a face to the organization and gets the inputs from the clients. And based upon the input, he will prepare the BRS and SRS, and that will be sent to the technical team. So in case of Agile, almost the same responsibilities is there, but we call it as a product owner, that is a PO. So he takes the input from the clients, takes all the requirements, and then again prepare some documents. So this is the product owner. Then the project manager. So for project manager, here again the same activity, but in Agile Scrum methodology we call it as a Scrum master. And the technical team, which is the Scrum team here, and then the client and customer, here we can say it is stakeholder. So stakeholder is nothing but a client and customer. So this is the difference, and these are the Scrum team naming in case of Agile Scrum. So now let's see some of the again terminologies here. So these are the Scrum terminologies. So here we are not calling it as a release, we are calling it a sprint. And then the SRS document, here we prepare the user stories. Here are the user stories. These are the some Scrum terminologies. We will discuss each of these roles of the product owner, Scrum master, Scrum team, stakeholder, and what is sprint and what is user stories in the upcoming lectures. So before going further, let's understand what are user stories here. So user story means a feature or a module in the software. A user story is a very high level definition of the requirement containing just enough information so that the developers can produce a reasonable estimate of the effort to implement it. So user story is very useful in case of estimating the efforts, and it is again dependent upon, we can say that it's very useful in case of taking the sprint requirements to prepare the sprint backlog. So again we will discuss this user story in detail in upcoming our lectures, so stay tuned. So here we'll understand the complete Scrum process now. So this is the pictorial diagram which is taken from Google only. So we'll discuss about this. So this is the Scrum process. So first we can say this is the product owner. There are some terminologies here as well. So we'll also going to discuss in this detail in the upcoming lectures. So first let's understand the complete process here. So first this is the product owner. He prepares the product backlog document, sprint planning meeting, then there will be a sprint backlog, then this is the cycle starts, then there is a daily Scrum meeting daily basis which is taken by the Scrum master, and then it will finish the work, that is 6 number, and then there will be, after finishing the work, there will be a sprint review, and once the sprint review is done, then it will be deployed to the client. And then last, there will be a sprint retrospective meeting. So let's discuss in detail now. Okay, so the product owner is the one who is the face to the client, and always interacting with the stakeholders. So product owner takes the inputs in terms of stakeholder requirements or expectations from the stakeholders, executives, then team, and then the customer users. So he will take all the requirements from the stakeholder side, and once the product owner gets all the requirements from the stakeholder, he will document all those requirements into a one document, that is the product backlog. So he will prepare the product backlog document, which contains all the requirements or all the inputs from the executives, teams, stakeholders, customers or users. So these are the end users actually. So once the product backlog is ready, the sprint planning meeting will be happened. So this is the sprint planning meeting. This is the first meeting actually, and it will happen after the product backlog creation. So everybody from the Scrum team is involved in the sprint planning meeting. So here in the sprint planning meeting, there is a Scrum team involvement, and the complete Scrum team will be involved, and the team will review all the stories in the product backlog. So whatever the stories are in the product backlog document, so that will be reviewed by the Scrum team, and some of the stories will be picked for that particular sprint by the team. So the specific what we can say, the specific requirements will be taken as an input for the particular sprint, and those requirements are documented into the sprint backlog document. So based on those picked stories committed by the team, the sprint backlog document is created. So again, for creation of the sprint backlog document, they will perform some estimation process, and based upon those estimation process only, they will prepare this sprint backlog document, and considering some of the requirements for this sprint. So once the sprint backlog document is created, the sprint gets started. So here we have a start of the sprint. So we are starting the sprint here. So during the sprint duration, developers and testers will work upon the stories mentioned in the sprint backlog. So again, developers will work upon the coding part, tester will work upon the testing part. So here there is a cycle of 1 to 4 weeks. So again, as we have discussed already, some takes as a 2-week cycle, or some takes as a 4-week cycle, that is a 1 month cycle. Then there will be for every 24 hours there will be a daily Scrum meeting, or it also called as the daily stand-up call or daily stand-up meeting, which is conducted by the Scrum Master. So means every 24 hours we will have this daily stand-up call, and this is basically for up to 15 to 20 minutes, so which will be conducted by the Scrum Master. So all the team developers, testers, that is the Scrum team, is involved in the meeting, and they will provide their daily status to the Scrum Masters. So the status is like what we have accomplished since the last meeting, what are you working on before the next meeting, and any blockers that are preventing to proceed further activities. So these complete points will be discussed with the help of complete team by the Scrum Master. So based upon the status in the daily stand-up call, the Scrum Master prepares a burn down or the burn up charts. So again, this we will cover in the next lectures. So these charts basically states the status, such as how much work is planned, how much work is completed, and how much work is pending. So he will get the complete idea based upon these charts related to the work. So we'll discuss this burn up and burn down chart in the upcoming lectures in detail. So once after the sprint cycle is completed, the piece of code or the application with some functionality developed will be available. So once this cycle is completed, first cycle is completed, we can finish the work here. So after finishing the work, we will have a sprint review. So this is the 7th number, that is the sprint review. Some of the points gets discussed in the sprint review meeting, like what are all the stories planned for the sprint, what are all the stories completed in the sprint, what are all the stories are pending in the sprint, and if all the bugs are closed or not. So basically here there will be a stakeholder involvement in the sprint review meeting, and the senior developers, testers will provide demo to the product owner, and if it's successful as per the client expectation, then the application is delivered to the client. So here the product owner act as a client as well. Sometimes product owner takes this complete review, or the actual client will be there. So once after the application is delivered to the stakeholder at the end of the release, then the retrospective meeting will be planned to discuss upon some of the points. So here, once we complete the sprint review, we can just final demo to the product owner, QA or developer, and then this will be, once this demo will be successful, this can be deployed to the client side, and then at our end, that is the organization end, there will be a sprint retrospective meeting. So here we'll discuss upon what went well during the sprint, what went wrong during the sprint, and any improvement areas, or any, what we can say, the lesson learned, if any, during the sprint. So that will be completely discussed in the sprint retrospective meeting. So based upon those points, team will find ways to improve their work. So in this way, once all the release cycles are completed, client will get complete software with all the functionalities. So first we have completed the first cycle, then again the same process will start here. Then based upon the product backlog, the team will again find some of the requirements for the particular sprint, for the second sprint we can say, and then they will prepare the sprint backlog document. Then the second cycle will get started, and then again there will be some daily scrum meeting on a daily basis conducted by the scrum master. So in this way we are going to complete all the sprints, and once all the sprints are completed, all the release cycles are completed, the client will get the complete software here with all the functionalities. Yeah, so that's it for the scrum process here. So thanks for watching. Please do like and do subscribe our channel for such more videos. Click on the bell icon to get the latest updates. In the upcoming lectures, we'll discuss the remaining points related to agile methodologies such as scrum team roles, agile meetings, ceremonies, agile documents, or the artifacts. Yeah, so stay tuned. Thank you so much.